Whew, it was a heated day in Columbia, South Carolina. I did radio over in the Carolinas today with Mark Ryan, and man, yeah, apparently you guys had been calling in long before I did over there. Will Muschamp named Collin Hill the starter at Carolina, not Ryan Hilinski. Collin Hill. Collin Hill, if you're unfamiliar, is a transfer. He's a grad transfer. Came in from Colorado State. Yes, the same Colorado State that new offensive coordinator Mike Bobo was at. So there was the connection. And a lot of people, I'll give credit to Sherbert and the guys over at the Big Spur, they were on this for quite a while. I don't think anyone who's a member over there is surprised at this announcement. And, they kind of flagged this thing several weeks in advance. So what they flagged ends up becoming a reality. Collin Hill is named the starter for the Tennessee game. I am intentionally phrasing it like that because I don't think really a whole lot of decision has been made past that. Let's dive into this. As is usually the case, anytime you got a quarterback battle, it is inevitably, did the head coach make the right call? Did Will Muschamp make the right call? 99% of the time, I'm going to answer yes because it's the head coach's team. So he tends to know a little bit more than I do sitting behind a microphone. But for those of you who are split on this, or those of you who are on the other side of the fence and you think Ryan Hilinski was done wrong, I've talked to some of you today already. I'm going to ask this. I'm not going to insult your opinion. It's your opinion just like I got one. One's not worth more than the other one. But I'll ask you, if you think that Ryan Hilinski was done wrong here, if you think the wrong decision was made, what are you selling? That's really what it comes down to. If you're Will Muschamp, what is your program selling? And who are you accountable to? Because my feelings on this have always been feelings and loyalty. Like those things are really great if you're putting together a PTA council. That's wonderful and you can afford to do it there. They do not mix with the true theme of competition. Feelings and loyalty can get in the way of the theme of competition. So when I ask what are you selling, what are you selling? When you're Will Muschamp, when he went into Ryan Hilinski's living room, when they talked to Collin Hill about coming in, did they tell one of them, in this case, I guess Hilinski, did they tell Hilinski this is your job? You commit here, you come here, it's going to be your job unless you decide to leave, you get hurt, like it's going to be your job. Did they sell him on that? If they did, he was done wrong. I tend to believe Will Muschamp doesn't recruit like that. I tend to believe they recruit on the basis of competition. And that's the way the big boys do it. I can assure you Nick Saban sits in your living room and has no problem telling you, the day you come on campus, I'm trying to recruit over you. Ryan Day's doing the same thing. Kirby Smart's doing the same thing. And yeah, they got a lot of guys who transfer out of there, but they also win a lot, don't they? And so what kind of culture do you want instilled into your program there? Do you want one where someone is stroked on the cheek and, well, you've been here longer, it's your job? You can have it. You can also go 4-8. Don't be calling for a guy's job if you're going to complain when he makes his choice as to who he thinks, and this is a key part of this entire argument, gives his team the best chance to win. Because when I asked about accountability, Will Muschamp's not accountable to Ryan Hilinski. He is accountable to his entire locker room, Ryan Hilinski included. Who gives those guys the best chance to win? Will Muschamp can coach another 20 years. Those guys get 3 or 4 or 5 years in college. Yeah, so he's accountable to them. It's really important to put the right guy on the field. Here's my question. How convinced is Will Muschamp this is the right move? I know he's the head man there, and it falls on his shoulders, and he's the one who makes the announcement. But what have we talked about all offseason with Carolina? Mike Bobo came in, and he's a new offensive coordinator. Everyone believes in him. Hype is through the roof. And my assumption has been maybe this is the first time Muschamp's got a coordinator there he fully trusts. He's fully willing to just toss the keys to and say, all right, you got offense, man. I'll be over here if you need me. I'm asking that because of this. For all we know, and I can't confirm this, I have not heard this, but I'm saying for all we know, it could have been a dynamic where Muschamp was sitting there saying, if all things were equal, I'd probably like to lean Ryan Hilinski. And Mike Bobo said, Collin Hill's my guy. I think he's the guy who gives us the best shot to win. And what if Will Muschamp said, if that's your guy, that's your guy. That's what I hired you to do. You don't know, nor do I, if that's the way it actually played out. So, hey, competition can be a give and competition can be a take. Because as far as I could hear today, all Will Muschamp said was, Collin Hill's our starter for Tennessee. I hope Ryan Hilinski heard that as a one-week decision. That's really what I hope he heard. Because unless something drastically bad happens, I know that South Carolina's scheduled to have a game the next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. So you're one injury away. You're 1, 2, or 3 series stretch away from being right back on that field and taking the job back. So I really hope that's the mentality that Ryan Hilinski has. So, again, shout out to the Big Spur, man, because they were way ahead of this over there. So much of this, though, and this is the point I want to make, is out of Collin Hill's hands regardless. He could be the right choice, for all I know. and it's still out of his hands. Because if offensive line doesn't pan out over there, it's irrelevant. If that running back stable with Marshawn Lloyd out, if they don't fall into place behind him, if wide receivers not dependable, if they don't have their act together defensively, so much of that's out of Collin. In fact, all of it's out of Collin Hill's control. So I say all that to say, let's not watch the first 3 series of this Tennessee game and say, all right, well, I've made my conclusion. And for that matter, I would encourage you, make your decision now. Whether you love the move or hate the move, make the move now. One of the founding principles on this show that we have is we do not do armchair quarterbacking, and we don't do hindsight quarterbacking. We don't wait to see how things turn out in order to decide whether a decision was the right one, because the decision maker never has the benefit of hindsight. Will Muschamp cannot afford to sit around and wait until after the Tennessee game, watch the film, watch the replay 5 times, and then decide whether it was the right decision or not. You take the information you have at hand currently, and then you make the best decision to hopefully put you in position to win moving forward. So if you have a problem with this decision, state it now. And I have no problem with you complaining if things go off the rails. What I don't want to hear is, we'll see how it goes. And then you jump down his throat 6 weeks from now. That, they'll tolerate some places. I don't think we're going to tolerate it here.